There is a specific kind of exhaustion that cannot be cured by sleep. It is the exhaustion of continuity, the fatigue of serving a purpose greater than oneself. We see it etched onto the faces of men everywhere, a transformation so profound it borders on the mythological. Two men stand side by side at a high school reunion, both 45, both carrying the same number of years since graduation. But one looks precisely like 45, perhaps even older. His eyes recessed, his posture slightly slumped, his energy reserved, rationed out like scarce fuel. The other, however, possesses a peculiar resilience, a sharpness in his gaze, an unbroken connection to the chaotic vitality of his 20s. He is 45, but the time has adhered to him differently. He is taut, unbound, still kinetic. The first man is a father. The second, childless. The gap between them is not merely biological. It is an existential chasm, and it is the subject of one of philosophy's most brutal admissions. Why the childless man retains his youth while the father ages overnight. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of pessimism, observed the human condition not through the lens of optimistic progress or divine goodness, but as a relentless, tragic spectacle driven by a blind, insatiable cosmic force he termed the will. For Schopenhauer, this will is the essence of all things, an aimless striving that manifests in humans as the will to live. We believe we are making rational choices, seeking individual happiness, pursuing love, but in reality, we are merely puppets serving this universal, unconscious imperative. And nothing serves the will so completely, so absolutely, as reproduction. The moment a man becomes a father, he signs a non-negotiable contract with the species, and the terms of that contract mandate the complete and immediate surrender of the individual. This is the foundational truth we must confront. Youth, in its philosophical sense, is not merely low-maintenance skin or physical vigor. Youth is the prolonged state of possibility. It is the freedom to exist as raw material, an unfinished project whose potential shape is limited only by self-will. The childless man retains this quality. His existence remains fluid. His capital, both financial and temporal, is held in reserve, perpetually available for self-reinvention, spontaneous adventure, or solitary contemplation. His life is an unwritten symphony. He can pivot keys, change tempo, or abandon the score entirely without consequence to anyone but himself. This radical autonomy keeps the edges of his identity sharp. He is perpetually becoming. The father, by contrast, stops becoming the moment he starts providing. His life solidifies immediately. His youth, that reservoir of self-serving energy, that precious time dedicated to mastering a craft or exploring unknown territories of the self, is instantaneously reclassified as resources for the next generation. The will, having secured its continuity, no longer requires the father to be a vibrant, self-interested individual. It now requires him to be a machine of maintenance, a provider of security, a predictable fixture in the scaffolding of the future. The aging we observe is the physical manifestation of this transition from being a subject, the protagonist of his own life, to being an object, a tool in the species' relentless drive. The will extracts its payment in real time, in lost sleep, in financial anxiety, in the permanent redirection of creative focus away from self-actualization and toward external responsibility. This is why the childless man seems to possess an inner spring, a lightness that the father has visibly lost. The childless man is still fundamentally accountable only to his own existential dread, a dread he can, perhaps, attempt to neutralize through art, philosophy, or hedonism. His pain is personal, finite, and potentially escapable. The father's anxiety, however, is structural. It is the worry of multiplication. His life is no longer about managing his own suffering. It is about guaranteeing the safety, opportunity, and eventual self-sufficiency of another being. This anxiety, this perpetual, low-level stress, is the invisible acid that dissolves youth. It manifests in the brow furrowed over tuition costs, the shoulders weighted by the mortgage necessary for the school district, the mind preoccupied not with tomorrow's philosophical insight, but with next year's dental bill. The childless man can afford to be impractical, to chase the sublime, to fail spectacularly without devastating consequences. The father cannot. He must prioritize the practical, the stable, the monotonous security that contradicts the very essence of youthful exploration. To be youthful is to risk everything on possibility. To be a father is to risk nothing on certainty. The will demands this shift, rewarding the father with societal approval, a mere consolation prize, while simultaneously draining him of his individual vigor. Think for a moment about this observation. If you are watching this, you are part of an audience capable of confronting ideas that society actively ignores. Tell me, where are you contemplating this truth right now? Are you viewing this from a brightly lit office where you exchange your most vital hours for the sake of stability? Are you sitting in the quiet chaos of a home where your individual desires have been systematically filed away? Are you watching from a city that demands conformity, or from a remote solitude that allows you to remain unbound? Understanding your location helps contextualize the heavy weight of Schopenhauer's claim, because this truth hits hardest where responsibility is most dense. The profound difference lies in the destination of life force, the childless man's life force. His libido, in the broadest sense of vital energy, is directed inward. He is the recipient of his own energy, investing it in his intellectual development, his hobbies, his physical preservation, or his art. This self-directed focus is a mechanism of anti-aging. It sustains the internal project. He remains his own primary concern, his body and mind receiving the full, undivided attention of their owner. The father's life force is directed outward. His energy is a river diverted to irrigate the fields of the future. He is no longer focused on preservation but on transmission. He becomes fundamentally less concerned with himself because his biological mandate has shifted from personal survival to genetic survival. He begins to neglect the details of his own upkeep, the intense physical training, the deep intellectual diving, and the pursuit of complex, time-consuming personal goals, because those resources are now more efficiently spent ensuring the continuity of the species. The visible aging is merely the outer shell beginning to decay because the vital forces within have been prioritized for export. Schopenhauer believed that the will forces us into the delusion of love and happiness purely to trick us into reproduction, ensuring the continuity of the species. Once that goal is achieved, the illusion of individual happiness fades, replaced by the grim reality of suffering inherent in existence. For the father, the moment of parenthood is the moment the spell breaks, and he is left facing the vast, indifferent mechanism of the universe, now bound by chains woven from affection and obligation. Consider the creative capacity. Youth is marked by the reckless abandon of creation, the willingness to spend 10,000 hours on a pursuit that yields no immediate, practical result. The childless man can indulge this. He can afford to be obsessed with the useless, the transcendent, the purely artistic. His life is a monument to individual caprice. The father must transition from creation to application. His skills must be monetized, his time optimized, his efforts channeled into measurable, stable outcomes. The creative impulse, which is inherently selfish and time-consuming, is subjugated to the practical needs of the family unit. The childless man still has time to write the novel. The father has time only to review the budget that pays for the lights to keep the family reading. The novel remains unwritten, and with it, a part of the man's youth dies. The single, unchildless man embodies the philosophical ideal of the individual still fighting the tide of the collective. He is the man who looks at the grand script, get married, buy the house, have the children, and chooses to remain off stage, observing the performance. This requires not selfishness, as society often judges it, but a specific, rare strength. The strength to defy the social gravity that pulls every man toward the established path of genetic debt. He maintains his status as a complete entity, beholden to no external, overwhelming pressure. His decisions are his own. His burdens are self-imposed. The aging process, therefore, is directly proportional to the accumulation of external, necessary burdens. The father has willingly taken on burdens that multiply his vulnerabilities. His life insurance is no longer just for his debts, but for the future security of dependent lives. His health is no longer a personal concern, but an imperative for the family's structural integrity. Every choice is now a negotiation between what he wants and what they need. This constant, internalized negotiation consumes psychic energy and accelerates the psychological wear and tear that we translate into visible age. The childless man, witnessing this transformation in his peers, holds his youth as a conscious shield. He sees the trade-off and refuses it. He understands that the freedom he possesses is not merely the freedom to choose, but the freedom from obligation, the ultimate luxury in a world defined by chains. He is not free from the will, no man can be. But he has, for the time being, refused the species' most demanding mandate, thereby retaining a larger share of his limited individual existence. He is still playing his own game, whereas the father has joined a game where the rules are set by posterity. The single man remains economically light and temporally rich. He is not financially leveraging his future against the needs of others. His money is his tool, not his master. His time is his masterpiece, to be filled with whatever complexity or simplicity he chooses. This lack of structural, financial, and temporal debt allows him a mental bandwidth that the father simply cannot access. The childless man's mind is free to wander, to contemplate, to focus fiercely on abstract goals. The father's mind is tethered to the operational necessities of the household. His aging is the measure of his mental energy redirected from the abstract to the immediate, from the philosophical to the logistical. We often praise the father for his sacrifice, calling it maturity or love. And while affection is real, Schopenhauer's perspective insists that we acknowledge the underlying mechanism. Sacrifice is merely the species reclaiming the individual's resources. The man who appears youthful is simply the man who has managed to hoard his vital resources for his own use, resisting the universal imperative to disperse himself into the future. He is the master of his own finite fading hours, while the father has become the servant of an endless, demanding continuity. The childless man's appearance of lasting youth is the visible reward for the difficult, lonely choice of prioritizing his own existence over the mandate of the will. His life is a statement. The individual matters, even if the species disagrees. This dynamic of tragic necessity and envied freedom is the essential foundation for understanding the deeper cost of fatherhood, a cost we are culturally trained to ignore. Recognizing this is not cynicism. It is merely honesty. It is seeing the world as it operates, not as we wish it would. If this idea, the idea that continuity demands the aging of the individual, resonates with a difficult truth inside you, then you must speak it aloud. There is undeniable power in identifying the mechanism of your own life. Write this phrase in the comments right now. The will always collects. This is not a judgment. It is a simple, potent statement of fact that acknowledges the philosophical weight of responsibility. Do not merely observe this truth. Claim your honesty. Subscribe to this channel immediately. Your willingness to confront the deepest, most uncomfortable realities about existence proves you belong to the rare collective who refuses the comfortable lie. Hit the like button because this message must reach every man silently weighing his burdens against his lost freedom. Every man who needs to know that his secret feelings are not unique, but fundamentally human. Your engagement amplifies the signal of truth. And understand this. What we have discussed here is only the surface of the burden. The second layer of this philosophical excavation is darker, more personal, and far more volatile. We will be diving next into the specific psychological mechanism that ensures the childless man retains his creative spark and vitality, while the father begins to atrophy, a process rooted in the very nature of desire and dissatisfaction. Prepare yourself for the truth that philosophy buried because it was deemed too dangerous for the masses. You must be here when the next perspective drops, because missing it means settling back into comfortable, philosophical sleep. Stay honest, stay awake, and keep questioning the price of the life you chose. Go into any department store on a Saturday afternoon. Look closely at the men wandering through the aisles. You will see two distinct types. The first moves with a quiet, unhurried ease, his clothing crisp, his face relatively smooth. a faint shadow of potential still hanging over him. He looks like a man whose future is still a boundless horizon. This is the single man. Then you see the other, often trailed by a small, chaotic unit. His shoulders are slightly slumped. His eyes hold a specific, dull exhaustion that no amount of sleep can cure. His youth, his vitality, his spark. It is not gone, but it has been aggressively redistributed. He looks fundamentally older than his unmarried contemporary, and the difference appeared not gradually, but in a sudden, seismic shift that happened around the time of the first child's birth. That change, that instant redistribution of vitality, is what Arthur Schopenhauer and Friedrich Nietzsche observed and wrote about with unflinching accuracy. They understood that the drain is not merely physical, it is metaphysical. It is the cost of surrendering the individual will to the species will. Before we delve deeper into the philosophical accounting of this cosmic debt, I want to know where this message is reaching you. Tell me the city you are in right now. I know that in kitchens, offices, and quiet garages across the globe, men are watching this and realizing that the weight they carry has a name and a philosophical explanation. Your location is a coordinate on the map of human experience, and your presence confirms the universality of this silent struggle. The married father ages overnight because his entire life force, his Wille zum Leben, the will to live, as Schopenhauer called it, is suddenly commandeered for the purpose of biological perpetuation. The bachelor, the childless man, retains this will entirely for himself. His energy is focused inward, on his own development, his own experience, his own transcendence. The father's energy is instantly, brutally diffused. It is the difference between a high-powered beam focusing on a single, brilliant point, say, and that same beam hitting a prism and splitting into a dozen dimmer rays. The beam maintains its total energy, perhaps, but its intensity, its capacity for burning bright and achieving singularity, is lost. This is the fundamental reason why the childless man appears eternally young. His personal engine of becoming is running only for his own benefit. When Schopenhauer discussed the will, he wasn't talking about mere desire. He was talking about the blind, powerful, and ceaseless drive that constitutes reality itself. For the individual man, this will manifests as ambition, creativity, intellectual hunger, and the constant striving towards a higher self. For the species, this will manifests as reproduction. And in the grand, cruel scheme of nature, the species will always subjugates the individual will. And the moment a man becomes a father, nature congratulates him by stripping him of his personal fuel. His life is no longer primarily about answering the question, "What must I become?" but rather, "How must I ensure the survival and well-being of them?" This diversion of the will manifests in the exhaustion that goes beyond sleepless nights. It is the exhaustion of chronic financial instability. The single man worries about his rent. The father worries about mortgages, tuition, medical bills, and the sheer cost of maintaining an ecosystem that grows relentlessly. The single man's money is a tool for experience, a spontaneous trip, a collection of books, an investment in a risky venture. The father's money is a shield against catastrophe. It is perpetually allocated, earmarked, and accounted for. This constant calculation, this perpetual need to prioritize stability over opportunity, is mentally corrosive. It saps the joy out of financial decision-making and replaces it with a low-grade, constant anxiety. This is the weight that etches lines onto the face of the married father. Furthermore, the father sacrifices what might be the single most potent element of youth, the capacity for radical, irresponsible self-focus. Great personal transformation, the writing of a massive novel, the founding of an innovative, high-risk company, the pursuit of mastery in a difficult art, requires a kind of monomaniacal selfishness that family life simply cannot tolerate. The single man can spend 10 years in an attic perfecting a skill, emerging blinking into the sunlight when the work is done. The married man, especially the father, cannot disappear into his own mind for more than a few hours. His focus is perpetually fragmented. The single man's highest value is achievement. The father's highest value is reliability. And reliability, while virtuous, is the antithesis of the chaotic, fertile self-absorption necessary for genius. Nietzsche understood that all great art and philosophy emerge from solitude, from the ability to generate a universe within one's own head. The single man retains this solitude as a weapon and a sanctuary. The married man trades this sanctuary for perpetual company. Even when the house is quiet, the mind of the father is not his own. It is cluttered with future planning, scheduling conflicts, disciplinary strategies, and the emotional temperature of 3 or 4 other human beings. The mental space, the true luxury of youth, is gone. The childless man can engage in deep work, pursuing complex thoughts and creative endeavors without the psychic background noise of impending obligations. The father attempts deep work, but it is constantly interrupted by the reality of proximate needs, a psychological state that leads directly to burnout and the appearance of premature aging. His mental vitality is spent managing domestic logistics, not forging new philosophical terrain. We must look closer at the true nature of compromise that the father must maintain. It is not just the compromise with a spouse, but a lifetime of compromises dictated by small, demanding beings who have absolute claim on his time and emotional availability. The single man's life is defined by subtraction. He eliminates responsibilities that do not serve his goals. The father's life is defined by addition. He perpetually acquires new responsibilities that others generate. He attends PTA meetings, watches children's sporting events, and spends his Saturday assembling furniture. These are noble and necessary acts, the warp and weft of responsible fatherhood. But Schopenhauer forces us to ask, what is the cost to the unlived life? What masterpiece, what intellectual breakthrough, what personal summit was abandoned on the assembly line of domestic stability? The childless man retains a specific kind of arrogance, a belief in his own limitless possibility. This belief, this high estimation of self, is a vital component of youth. It is the conviction that the best is still ahead, that he has not yet committed to his final form. The father cannot maintain this arrogance. He has committed. He has signed the metaphysical contract that places him second to his progeny. His life is largely defined by the limits of his capacity to provide and protect. He becomes the anchor, reliable but stationary. The single man remains the sailing ship, capable of heading anywhere the wind of his will takes him. The constant performance of contentment is another heavy stone in the burden of the aging father. Society, and indeed his family, expects him to be happy with his choice, to justify the sacrifice through declarations of profound satisfaction. He must never admit the quiet, gnawing envy for the spontaneous existence of the childless man. Admitting that freedom has a beauty he misses is perceived as a failure of love. Thus, he engages in a sophisticated lie of omission, focusing intensely on the profound joys of fatherhood, which are real, while systematically burying the profound losses, which are also real. This psychological suppression, this constant need to police his own internal dialogue to ensure it aligns with his public narrative, is profoundly exhausting. It is the antithesis of the single man's freedom to be authentic, chaotic, and occasionally miserable without fearing institutional collapse. The father is forced into a life of profound consistency. Children require routine, predictability, and stability. While this predictability provides a foundation, it smothers the spontaneity that defines a youthful spirit. Youth is fundamentally anti-routine. It thrives on novelty and disruption. The father exchanges the vibrant, disruptive energy of novelty for the predictable, slow-burning fire of domestic life. He knows what dinner will be, where vacation will be taken, and what his role is in every social setting. This clarity comes at the cost of genuine excitement. The single man remains a question mark, both to himself and to the world. The father has become an answer key. Consider the physical reality. The father's body is no longer a temple to his own vanity or ambition. It is a utility vehicle. It must be functional enough to handle children, furniture, and long hours of labor. The pressures of his life often lead to compensatory behavior. Less time for the rigorous physical and intellectual discipline the single man can afford. More reliance on comfort food and easy habits to manage stress. The childless man can maintain an ascetic discipline focused purely on self-optimization. A. He retains the physical edge because his primary purpose is self-maintenance. The father, having shifted his primary purpose to the maintenance of others, accepts the decay of his own physical form as a necessary cost of doing business. This physical surrender is the most visible sign that the individual will has bowed to the species will. The philosophical implication here is that the childless man, by refusing the species will, is retaining a connection to an older, purer form of human striving. The striving for transcendence, for overcoming the constraints of biology and gravity. The father, by embracing the species will, embraces gravity. He is grounded, anchored, and bound to the cycle of life and death, maintenance and decay. This groundedness, while necessary for civilization, is antithetical to the impulse that drove Schopenhauer and Nietzsche to seek truth outside of established norms. They saw marriage and fatherhood not as achievements, but as society's brilliantly disguised method of domesticating the dangerous, ambitious male spirit. It is the ultimate compromise, dressed up as the ultimate fulfillment. The childless man remains dangerous because he is unattached, unburdened by dependence, and capable of making decisions that shock the stable ecosystem. He can fail spectacularly without taking others down with him. This capacity for spectacular, self-contained failure is essential for spectacular success. The married father loses the ability to embrace high-risk, high-reward endeavors because his failure is no longer his alone. His life becomes a careful game of damage limitation. And nothing kills the youthful spirit faster than the calculated avoidance of necessary risk. The single man retains his future not as a certainty, but as an open-ended question. His biography remains unwritten, a manuscript with infinite possibilities for its final chapter. The married father, particularly the one with children, has already outlined the major acts of his life. The provider, the protector, the stable figurehead. He has exchanged the thrilling terror of the unknown for the comforting monotony of the known. He has traded potential for permanence, and while permanence is often applauded, it is the fundamental enemy of vitality. This realization, that the visible aging is the external sign of an internal, philosophical surrender, is what cuts deepest when the married man catches sight of the unburdened bachelor. It is not about sex or money, fundamentally. It is about the ghost of the self he had to kill to become a father, the brilliant, terrifying, and profoundly selfish self that could have created dancing stars instead of maintaining a comfortable cage. The married man cannot undo the past, but he can understand the choice he made and the price he is paying. The childless man, having witnessed this dynamic play out, understands the true value of the terrifying freedom he still possesses. You have recognized the profound truth in this distinction, a truth society demands you deny. Now, I need you to anchor this realization. I want you to comment right now, affirming the specific nature of this burden. Write the phrase, "The will is diverted." This simple statement of philosophical fact serves as a powerful anchor, a recognition of the metaphysical sacrifice. Do this now. And if this detailed, unflinching look at reality has given you a moment of clarity, you need to subscribe immediately. We are building a community of men and women committed to intellectual honesty, recognizing that the most dangerous ideas are often the most liberating. Hit that subscribe button and commit to staying awake. This message needs to reach every single person lying awake at night, justifying their chains. Smash the like button to ensure the algorithm distributes this painful, necessary truth far and wide. Your engagement is the fuel that breaks the silence. And finally, be ready for the next video. We will not be talking about marriage or children, but we will uncover another ancient philosophical bomb about human nature, or one that was hidden from the public because it deals directly with the price of sanity and the illusion of control. It will challenge your deepest assumptions about the nature of love itself. Stay tuned because the next truth is the one they are truly desperate for you to ignore. Stay free, stay awake, and most importantly, stay honest. We have spent 2 parts observing the meticulous, self-imposed architecture of compromise. We have watched the married man perform contentment while his deepest consciousness aches for the raw, terrifying possibility embodied by the man sitting alone at the banquet table. This final confrontation, however, is not merely about lost freedom. It is about the tangible, irreversible cost of responsibility, a cost measured in vitality, time, and the premature decay of the self. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who dared to look directly at the tragic engine of life, observed a physical reality that polite society frantically attempts to camouflage. He saw men who chose the path of solitary striving, the childless men, retaining a youthful elasticity of spirit and a physical endurance far into their later years. They possessed a certain lightness, a spiritual buoyancy, unburdened by the generational yoke. They aged slowly, almost selectively, their focus remaining sharp because their energy was conserved. Conversely, Schopenhauer saw fathers, often young men barely past their own adolescence, their faces suddenly etched with the weight of duty, their shoulders stooped not by physical labor but by psychic pressure. They aged rapidly, sometimes overnight, visibly shrinking under the gravitational pull of the species. The vitality that once belonged wholly to them, to their own artistic creation, their own grand ambition, was immediately redirected, rerouted to the future generation. This is the moment the philosophy shifts from the emotional envy of freedom to the undeniable, biological transaction of life force. This is the definitive climax, the physical manifestation of the compromise. Before we descend into the final, unavoidable truth of this rapid decline, take a moment and connect to this harsh reality. Where are you right now? What city, what silent moment in your day, what solitary stretch of highway are you watching this final, brutal truth unfold from? Let the location anchor the gravity of this realization. Schopenhauer believed that the driving force of existence, the will, cares nothing for the individual man except as a temporary vehicle for reproduction. Once that function is fulfilled, once the child is born, once the biological imperative has been successfully discharged, the individual's value to the will plummets. The species has secured its continuity. The specific container is now disposable. For the childless man, the biological contract remains open. His will, his vital life force, is still striving toward internal self-perfection, toward personal transcendence. His energy is not yet committed to the next generation, so it feeds back into him, sustaining his ambition, fueling his continuous self-creation. He remains necessary to himself because nature has not finished using him up. The single, childless man retains the full tax rebate of his own existence. The father, however, has signed the biological surrender. His energy, his physical resources, and crucially, his mental bandwidth are permanently diverted. Every decision, every worry, every financial calculation is now filtered through the survival of his lineage. This is an enormous spiritual bookkeeping entry. This accelerated aging, the exhaustion, the loss of spontaneity, the dulling of the creative edge, is the exact premium society extracts for the continuation of the species. It is the cost of stability, paid in the currency of self. The married man secretly envies the single man because the single man has avoided this crushing spiritual tax. The single man can still afford to be reckless, to invest everything in a wild, singular pursuit, because his failure affects only him. His vitality is focused like a laser beam. The father's vitality is diffused and is spread thin across mortgages, school fees, behavioral issues, and the relentless administration of family life. He moves from being a creator to a mere custodian, a manager of existing assets. This transition from active creation to passive maintenance is what truly accelerates the decay. Nietzsche taught us that the goal of man is to become the Übermensch, the one who transcends conventional morality and molds his own values. This demanding process requires immense, undivided spiritual energy. Marriage, and especially fatherhood, makes this philosophical ascension nearly impossible. The married father is not free to destroy his present self to build a better future self, because the destruction, even temporary self-absorption, would destabilize the ecosystem he is obligated to maintain. He must remain predictable, stable, and therefore, he's spiritually stagnant. The childless man faces no such constraint. His life is a continuous experiment. He can burn his past self entirely, move countries on a whim, or dedicate a decade to a useless, esoteric pursuit without consulting a committee of dependents. His freedom is not just geographical or financial, it is existential. He is free to fail grandly, which, paradoxically, is a prerequisite for achieving anything genuinely new. The married man trades the possibility of spectacular failure and spectacular success for guaranteed mediocrity and stability. This stagnation explains the visible difference in youthfulness. Youth is not merely physical appearance, it is the readiness for the unexpected, the willingness to transform, the retention of chaos necessary for the dancing star Nietzsche described. The married man has deliberately extinguished that chaos. He has traded the thrilling uncertainty of the infinite road for the predictable comfort of the paved driveway. He knows every turn. He knows every obligation. That knowledge, that brutal predictability, is what drains the soul dry and manifests as rapid aging. The childless man's schedule is owned by his own curiosity, his own becoming. The father's schedule is owned by the collective needs of the family unit. He is perpetually on call. Even when physically present, his mental space is invaded by the relentless low hum of responsibility. This perpetual psychological burden, this inability to ever truly switch off and enter pure, unadulterated self-focus, is the essence of his accelerated decline. His mind is never truly his own. The single, childless man, and by prioritizing his self-sovereignty, remains perpetually in the state of creation. He is raw material. He is possibility. He retains the vital illusion that he can still be anything. The father, having fulfilled the fundamental biological role, has settled the question of who he is. He is a provider, a protector, an anchor. While this role is noble and necessary for civilization, it is terminal for the individual self. This secret envy is rooted in the married man recognizing his own termination. He sees the childless man and sees a ghost of the life he incinerated, the self that refused to die for the tribe, the man who still retains the full, undiluted power of his unspent youth. The childless man is a walking, breathing testament to the road not taken, a proof of concept that autonomy was indeed possible. The philosophical cost is compounded by the economic reality. Every father understands that the moment he accepts the responsibility of children, his career decisions shift from aspiration to security. He can no longer take the high-risk, high-reward leap that might lead to massive personal achievement, because the downside is catastrophic for others. His job, his stability, becomes a cage built of golden handcuffs, necessary to sustain the lives depending on him. The childless man can walk away from a suffocating job on Tuesday and start a new, uncertain venture on Wednesday. He is the entrepreneur of his own existence. The married man sees this economic and existential freedom and feels the chains tighten. He is not envious of the single man's dating life or superficial fun. He envies the radical liberty to change his entire path without consequence to innocence. That is the freedom that keeps the spirit young and the potential limitless. We must understand that this is not a critique of love. It is a diagnosis of the institutional burden. Love is real, but the institution of marriage and fatherhood is the mechanism through which society domesticates the dangerous, creative male energy, channeling it into safe, predictable servitude for the benefit of the future, even if that means the rapid consumption of the present generation. The single man refused domestication. He remains wild, untamed, and crucially, in full possession of his life force. The ultimate tragedy is that the married man convinces himself that he chose the better path, the path of maturity and fulfillment. But late at night, and when the house is silent and the facade of contentment drops, he knows the truth. He knows he chose the path of least resistance socially, surrendering his deepest potential for comfort and social approval. The final question Schopenhauer and Nietzsche jointly pose is inescapable. Are you willing to trade the possibility of becoming an extraordinary individual, a solitary genius sustained by his own unspent life force, for the predictability of an ordinary, shared life, paying the biological and psychic tax of rapid decay? The married man made his trade. The single man, by refusing the trade, retains his youth, his elasticity, and his unbroken self. This conversation ends the silence. You have arrived at the final, core admission, recognizing the structural cost of conformity. You know the exact price paid for the stability you or others have chosen. Now, acknowledge it. We shatter the silence together. Write one powerful sentence in the comment section right now. Write simply, affirming this truth. The cost was worth the knowledge. This single admission breaks the psychological spell of denial and frees the mind to see the world as it truly is, unvarnished by social expectation. You belong here. You are not crazy for recognizing this stark, painful reality. This is the gathering place for the awake, for those who seek truth regardless of how corrosive it is to comfortable illusions. Subscribe to this channel immediately. We require your presence in this community of brutal honesty, because your commitment is the engine that drives this dangerous conversation forward. Hit the like button because this message must reach every man who performs contentment while secretly mourning his lost potential. Your engagement is the lighthouse for the man watching this alone at 3 a.m., wondering if his secret envy means he failed. He needs to know he is not alone in this profound disillusionment. Do not dare to miss what comes next. The next revelation is already set to detonate everything you believe about human motivation and societal compliance. It is another perspective that philosophy buried because it was too dangerous for comfortable people. You will either be liberated completely or disturbed permanently. Be here when that bomb drops, because missing it means staying asleep in the most beautiful, most restricting cage society ever engineered. Stay free, stay honest, stay awake, or risk becoming one of the many whose life force was simply spent on the maintenance of someone else's future. That pretending, that self-deception, is the real cage, and Schopenhauer knew the exact speed at which it drains your soul dry.